Good morning, guys. Happy Tuesday. It's Mrs. Minasali. Today, I'm going to introduce to you the assignment we will be doing for the week. And let's cheer because it's the last assignment of the year. Woo-hoo! So exciting. Now, this in front of me is the directions on your Google Classroom assignment. Just want to go over a few things. First of all, if there is anything in this video that you do not understand or you want me to further elaborate, as always, please private comment down below. And right now we're going to go into the details of the assignment. And what I'm going to do for that is I'm going to be pulling up the Google Doc that is attached below that each of you will have. It's going to have a copy for you already with your name. But you're going to go ahead and this is where you're going to complete all parts of the assignment for this week. So here we go. Barrier islands to build or not to build. Write a letter to the editor of your local newspaper to answer this question. So first, as always, we're going to read together the introduction to this assignment to give us a little bit of background information. This is a brand new topic we're going to be dealing with this week, which is ecology. So let's talk a little bit about it. So if you look at a map of the eastern shoreline of the United States, you can see that the Atlantic and Gulf Coast are lined by a series of thin, elongated islands. These islands are known as the barrier islands because they provide barriers to winds and ocean waves. These islands protect the mainland by absorbing the energy produced in hurricanes and normal winter storms. But barrier islands are not just important geological features. They are also unique ecosystems. A barrier island usually consists of a wide sandy beach facing the ocean, an area of one or more sand dunes with anchoring beach grasses and shrubs, and a wetland area that may consist of a bay, a lagoon, or a marsh that lies between the islands and the mainland. These ecosystems provide feeding, mating, and nesting areas for shorebirds, commercial fish species, and shellfish such as clams, oysters, and crabs. These beaches, dunes, and wetlands also provide important recreational activities for people. The different uses of the barrier islands result in disagreements about how they are being managed. Should barrier islands be protected or left undeveloped? Should people be allowed to build homes and hotels on the barrier island? So that's our topic for this assignment this week, guys. Now I'm going to go through the process. This is pretty much what you're going to be doing throughout the week to do this assignment. So it says, your job in this assignment is to develop an educated opinion as to whether or not people should build permanent structures on barrier islands. You will first complete your research utilizing the websites, hint, 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 here down below, and research questions below. These are on page 2, which I'll be showing you in just a moment. You will form an opinion as to whether permanent structures should be built on the barrier islands. Finally, you will prepare a letter to the editor of a paper in which you outline what you have learned about the barrier islands and state your opinion on whether permanent structures should be built in there. Your letter should include information about geology and ecology of the barrier islands, as well as the changes they are subject to. Your goal is to convince readers of the newspaper that your conclusion is correct and to encourage them to write to appropriate agencies in support of your purpose. Now, here I have an assignment timeline. So this is what you're going to be expected to do each day of this assignment. As usual, science is Tuesdays and Thursdays. So this will be for this week, Tuesday and Thursday. So for today, Tuesday, the first thing you have to do is watch the introduction video, which you are currently doing. Rock on. Step 2, you're going to complete day 1 research, brainstorm the barrier islands on page 2 of this doc. So I'm currently on page 1, as you can see over here, page number. You're going to scroll down when you open your doc, and you're going to complete page 2. This is pretty much questions that are going to give you all the information you need to form an educated opinion and be really persuasive in your letter. So you're going to research using those 3 websites over here to answer these questions. Looking through the website, it appears that you can find all of the answers for these questions in those 3 websites. But if for some reason you're having trouble finding one of the questions, feel free to use another reliable source on the internet. Just make sure if you do that you add it to your resources. Moving on, the second thing you will be doing, or the final thing you will be doing for day 1 today, is to complete day 1 continued, choose a side, letter outline on page 3 of this doc. So once again, I'm going to scroll down past day 1, part 1, and here is what I am referring to. So for this part, as you've been figuring out through what I've been saying, you have to choose a side. You can't write the letter without choosing a side. This is what we call a persuasive letter. So you either are going to be for development on the Barrier Islands or against development on the Barrier Islands. And I included 3 questions here that will pretty much give you an idea of which side you will be on. Should the islands be developed? What type of development should be allowed? And should any kind of development be prohibited? So these are 3 questions you should answer to yourself, but also make sure you notate, and this will give you a good idea of what side you will be choosing. Once you've done that, you're going to complete a outline/draft letter. Now, I've included the way that I personally like to draft out or pre-write, which is just splitting the letter into introduction, body, and conclusion. I would personally go in here and maybe bullet out what topics or things I want to input into each of those paragraphs. But if you don't like this method and you would like an alternative outline method, feel free to go ahead and delete this and add in whatever. If you want to do a T-chart, if you want to do a web, whatever method is best for you, but you do have to complete some form of pre-writing to kind of map out what you're going to write. Once you've completed all of this, you've then finished day 1 of this assignment, and then you don't have to do anything until Thursday, which reaches us to day 2 of this assignment. On day 2 of this assignment, which is for Thursday, you're going to write a persuasive letter to the local news editor. This is 3 to 5 paragraphs on page 4 of this doc. So once again, in 3 to 5 paragraphs, no more, no less. This is page 4. I'm going to scroll down. You will see where it says day 2, final draft of your letter. I've provided you some basic direction in regards to the format of your letter. You should always start every letter with a date and your name, and then you're going to address your recipient here. Make sure you are doing this in a proper letter format, so you should be entering and indenting for your first paragraph, and once again, 3 to 5 paragraphs to write the letter. Once you've completed this, you are all done with the project, which is amazing. Overall, guys, let's do a quick sweep of the expectation. So first and foremost, for day 1, you have to make sure that you're doing all of your research questions using these websites. Once you've done all your research, you're going to choose a side. Whether you are for or against development on the Barrier Islands, you're going to draft out your letter, either using this or another method, and that takes us to day 2 on Thursday, where you will create a final draft of your letter. In regards to how you'll be graded for this assignment, I'm going to go ahead now and show you the rubric. Okay, so the rubric is going to be split into 3 main parts. This entire assignment is going to be out of 48 points. So each section is actually going to be worth a total possible points of 16. So 16, 16, 16, and then total of 48. So if you get perfect in each of these areas, you will get 48 out of 48. I know it says 1, 2, 3, 4, but we are obviously multiplying that by 4. So the first area is task. This is referring to your completion of page 2 of the Google Doc, which is your research question. This shows us that you have gone through the task of answering all those questions, and answering those questions is the evidence that you've done your background research. The part 2 is your process. This is a combination of your pre-writing and kind of your choice of side, which is your page 3 of the Google Doc. On that page, you're demonstrating the process that you're going through to, number 1, make a choice of which side you are choosing, as well as how you're going to go about writing your letter. And for your final section, as it's stated here, this is obvious, is your letter. So your letter is going to be the 3rd part of your grade. And if you want to make sure you're hitting total amount of points you can get, just look at this 3rd column. For the letter was organized and arguments were well supported. It is evident that much research went into this project. So this is very basic, generic, but overall, as long as you guys are, number 1, doing your research on page 2, number 2, doing your decision of side and outline on page 3 for your process, and writing your letter 3 to 5 paragraphs with your evidence, choosing a clear side, you're going to get 100 on the assignment. Well, as always, if you have any other questions, please private comment down below. And I hope you guys enjoy completing this assignment. Have a great rest of the week, and I look forward to talking to you throughout. Bye, guys.